Thank you. So I'm from the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership Secretariat. And really what we want to focus today is if you have a blue economy policy or you're trying to progress towards a blue economy, how can we balance the economic, the social, and of course, environmental considerations and all the different policies that those are connected to? So who are the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership? We have quite a few members here today, and it's really part of this movement towards beyond GDP. So in decision-making, in terms of all the different frameworks, SDGs, Global Biodiversity Framework, and different national laws and policies, how can we go beyond just a single indicator to understand our progress towards sustainability? So as I mentioned, more indicators, holistic view of sustainability that balances both environment, society, and the economy. And this is different because what we're doing is strengthening a country's system, statistical system that is, and really reduce our reliance off one-off assessments so that we can really understand the assets that underpin how we're growing or how we're developing, both for now and into the future. The partnership is currently co-chaired by the Republic of Indonesia and the Charles Darwin Foundation out of Ecuador. So our staff are based at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, and our vision really is to accelerate sustainable ocean development through this framework called Ocean Accounts. And just like what we're doing today, we're facilitating collaboration and building communities of practice. So we have a community of practice specifically for Asia. We also have a community of practice for Africa. And how can we take the lessons and the experiences that so many countries are now having in developing ocean accounts and sharing them so that we can accelerate our progress? These are all the countries that we have members in. So we're very fortunate to have 11 members from across IORA. And I'll just leave this QR code here, but just to say that there are several countries now that have developed ocean accounts, and each of their focus is catering to a particular policy or particular progress towards a framework, because ocean accounts are supposed to be modular. For example, in Australia, it's focused on mangroves and seagrass, while it's been quite a lot more comprehensive in other countries. So focusing on the ocean accounts focus and answer questions depending on the policy need of each country. And so this QR code shows you the state of ocean accounts across IORA, and also links to other case studies globally. So we also, of course, have countries in South America, in Africa, and Europe that have developed ocean accounts. So this QR code will be at the end of the presentation as well. But first off, what are ocean accounts? And it comes from, or at least extends to, this concept of natural capital. So we recognize different forms of capital, human capital, produced capital, but we know that we rely on nature, and it's really trying to highlight how we specifically rely on nature through the goods and services that these natural assets provide. So we may have heard of the concept of ecosystem services. So that's just one way that nature provides to the economy. So I mentioned before a holistic progress, right? Or measuring with a holistic set of indicators. So at the moment, we might be focused on the production of the ocean economy, or ocean GDP, for example. But can we say how sustainable that growth will be over time? Can we understand the assets that are producing this growth, such as coral reef for fisheries, or mangroves and the goods that we get from those? And finally, who is benefiting from this growth? So to give you an example of fisheries, we might increase our fishery GDP by a significant amount, let's say 10%. But what happens to the underlying stock? Have we depleted the stock that we will no longer have this growth into the future? And is the sector dominated by industrial or foreign trawlers that are taking the benefits of this growth and not distributing it? So hopefully that gives you an idea of why we should have multiple indicators, but why accounting? Well, it's because we need something that's consistent spatially and across time. So just like a bank account, that is consistent in the rules, in how that is accounted for. But we don't yet have that consistency for nature. And it is being built. We have standards now, which have been quite recent. And that those standards give us common definitions and classifications. We also use accounting to understand the changes in a specific time period. Now, imagine if we could link changes in the environment with changes in financial or economic reporting. So the goal of ocean accounts is to really bridge the fundamental sciences, social science, and other forms of evidence, and really link that to management and decision-making. So we could have, for example, commitments from SDGs or the Convention on Biological Diversity that informs national legislation and policies, and therefore goals and targets. We could use different levers within our blue economy strategy or policies, such as marine spatial planning, marine protected areas, or sectoral plans, which will hopefully alter or impact the environment, society, and the economy. Now, how we measure progress at the moment is very fragmented. How can we put all those three different components together in a coherent and standardized way so that we can address or measure progress towards these goals and targets that we've set? So ocean accounts is really the focus specifically, or the application of standards for UN standards, I should say, for the ocean. And the reason that it's important is because there's so many different initiatives and frameworks. So we have, for example, experimental national approaches, we have scientifically minded approaches, and one suited more for the private sector. And so over the last 30 years, there's been a call for and the development of an international standard. And this standard differs because it's very clear on how you should measure ecosystems and environmental assets and linking them through a common framework. So they have very strict concepts and definitions, just like economic accounting or national accounting that produces GDP. You may have seen reports which jumps from one mangrove or whichever environmental asset, one coral, into a specific value. But what this ocean accounting does is you have to justify every step from the natural asset all the way to its monetary value by measuring the goods and services both in physical then monetary value, because there it's spatial as well. The values change depending on what that asset is. And also, I should really stress, we don't need to end up with a monetary value for every asset. Many of the insights that are benefiting policy or decision-making come from just the measurement and identifying gaps as well through ocean accounting. So like I mentioned, it's standards-based. It incorporates the concepts and definitions from the system of national accounts, which is the guidance to measure economic activity and produce indicators such as GDP. Much later, in 2012, we have a framework called the System of Environmental Economic Accounts that looks at specific thematic flows like water and energy. And then finally, in 2021, we have a standard that looks at ecosystems. And the main difference is that this is spatial. So the values, again, change over space and time. And we can see with the global review, over 90 countries have implemented the SIA central framework, and over 60 countries have tested ecosystem accounting. And we're bringing all three standards together to really look at the ocean. So when I say accounting, I promise this is the only table I'll show. It's just formatting the data in a way that can really communicate the information, the complex information that is quite recognizable across different stakeholders. So you'll have, for example, an opening and a closing of an ecosystem. So what did we have before? What did we have after? And what is the change? So instead of just seeing a map where we have to really decipher where the differences were, can we see immediately through a table the changes? And so this format should be quite recognizable to, for example, the Ministry of Finance or Economy. Now, in extending this, if you know where your assets are, what are the benefits that they're providing? So across IORA, many people are enjoying mud crab, for example. And so you can catch those mud crab and you could either sell them at market or consume them. But how much of that catch depends on those mangroves? Or how much of the fishing jobs and income could be affected if those mangroves disappear? So this is really starting to link all those separate data sets, that knowledge, into one cohesive framework so that we can tell when, if one thing changes, what are the flow-on effects from the natural asset all the way to the benefits that it provides. So really measuring dependencies. Now, I should mention that at the moment, GDP only captures a very specific fraction of growth or of the benefits that we receive from nature. So for example, coral reefs, you could be catching the reef fish, and that's captured in part by GDP. But what about the coastal protection? What about the erosion control or carbon sequestration? What we're trying to do here is capture all the benefits that ecosystems provide so that we can make better decisions. So really appreciate how nature gives us a safe and healthy environment. But it's not just environmental assets. We also look at the ocean economy as well. So we can have, for example, sectors that are very clearly ocean, like shipping, fisheries, or ports. But for example, tourism, that's a combination of terrestrial or land and coastal and marine tourism. So if your country asked what percentage of GDP is related to coastal and marine tourism specifically, our systems at the moment are not designed to answer that question. Same too with marine insurance, for example, as a proportion of all insurance, or construction and marine construction. This framework also encompasses waste. So this is a waste account from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. And it starts to disaggregate how much plastics, for example, comes from households or industry. And if you know how much plastics were collected, what was their treatment? How much went to landfill, recycling, or energy recovery? And of course, the difficult question is how much went into the environment. So we can start to see ocean accounts or environmental economic accounts as the knowledge foundation that can inform multiple streams of policy. So the environmental, the economic, social. And then if we have that solid evidence base, can we rapidly produce spatial plans or implement the policies from that evidence? So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions or would like to know more, our email is there. So I'll just stop presenting. And now I'll invite our colleague from the UN Economic Commission, Economic Commission in Africa, to explain a framework called the Blue Economy Valuation Toolkit. So Nida, the time is yours. Thank you. Nida, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Jordan. I'm just trying to, can you see my screen?
Yep, it's now presenting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jordan. In fact, it's just the Blue Economy Valuation Toolkit is just a complementary framework to what Jordan has presented. So, quickly, my name is Honita Kualuso. I am an Economic Affairs Officer in the Blue Economy Focal Point at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. I'm based at the Kigali office, which is the sub-regional office for East Africa. And we have been serving mostly the East African countries and now expanding to the rest of the region with the Blue Economy Evaluation Toolkit, which has been actually was formed by our team in 2020 during COVID time. And actually, this is a tool that follows up from the Blue Economy Policy Handbook that was formulated in 2016, which helped countries to sort of formulate a plan for the blue economy for the rest of Africa, because a lot of countries did not have a plan for the blue economy. And just to flag, in fact, at UNICA, the blue economy, of course, we take the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, the wetlands. So all of the water bodies are incorporated in our understanding of the blue economy and therefore also accounted in the toolkit. So what we do when we run the toolkit is we actually account for all the use of the water bodies, the different water bodies that I have mentioned. So with that, going to the crux of the presentation, as I shared with you, it was developed in 2020, and since we have deployed it so far in Seychelles, Djibouti, Rwanda, in Tanzania, we did a separate one for Zanzibar. We also did one for Ethiopia. It has been done for Jamaica as well, for Madagascar. It's been recently completed for Morocco and ongoing for Egypt. So it's gaining traction in Africa right now, and we are getting more and more requests to deploy this toolkit. Why the toolkit is being really attractive to countries is because it is the toolkit. What it does, it's really give you a picture of the blue economy contribution in general to the national economy in terms of GDP, in terms of GNI, in terms of employment, in terms of jobs that is being generated. At the same time, it also allows to capture the social interaction of people with the blue economy. So, for example, what is the relation between the health level of coastal communities? What is the education level of coastal communities? Is there a disparity between those of non-coastal communities to coastal communities? What is the level of security, maritime security? What is the level of poverty? So that is captured. And at the same time, we also, under the ecosystem services assessment, we capture the ecosystem services rendition in terms of economic value that is generated by the blue economy. So not just for the sea, but also we take account the ecosystem functional groups that are in the lakes, in the rivers, and in wetlands. So as I mentioned, it serves the economic aspect, the social aspect, this ecosystem aspect of the blue economy. And we do use, obviously, UN standards data. We use for the economic assessment, we use the national accounting system. We prefer using the national accounts data received from the countries. We use, obviously, as Jordan mentioned, also, we use the UN system on environment economic accounting and the ecosystem services accounting. So the toolkit, it was formulated as an Excel-based instrument. So just I'll briefly explain to you how it works. So basically what we do is we approach the countries approach us, so we approach the countries, the government and stakeholders collect the data, we train them on what are the data to be collected. Then these data are entered in the three modules, the economic, social, and ecosystem services modules. We have the analysis, we have pivot charts, we have which allows you to do an analysis. And then we have a snapshot of the country and the overall contribution of the blue economy to the country in terms of economic value, jobs created, And obviously there is also uh, sorry. Yeah, the social component in measured in terms of score. So what we do, we have a score that is, sorry, we use data indexes, the human development indexes from UNDP, which is preloaded for the countries that we are going to service. So for the time being, we have them preloaded for most of the, well, all of the East African countries and some of the other African countries that we have serviced. So they're preloaded, and then accordingly they score, and they are able to compare at a regional how they are faring, whether that the social component, the social score of the country in terms of the blue economy interaction, whether it's higher than the usual average for the region or not. So then we're able to have an analysis. And obviously, then you have on which indicator it performs better than the other. And then for the ecosystem services data, I'll show you next. So the economic module, as I said, it captures the contribution to GDP, GNI, wages, employment. Now we have added a more detailed a detailed function to the toolkit. We're able to break down those outcomes in terms of age, sex, and if we have the data, also the rural and urban analysis. It often really helps countries to identify where the problem is. So, for example, this subsector of the blue economy is under it's underexploited. For example, maybe aquaculture is underexploited in a country. Maybe tourism is underexploited in a country. Or which of the subsector of the blue economy is highest performing in terms of GDP, but the wages related to that is low. So we have a problem uh, in terms of the labor standards for that subsector of the blue economy. So it allows you to do a lot of analysis based on those disaggregated data. This is just a snapshot of how it's presented. So basically, use ISIC revision level 4, and we enter it. So the first section you have, obviously you identify whether it's agriculture, forestry, fisheries, which sector you're choosing. You come to the second level, which is then you identify whether it's going to be crop, animal, or fishing and aquaculture. If you select fishing, then you have the two options of fishing or aquaculture. Then you have marine fishing or freshwater fishing, and then you're able to obviously the more disaggregated data we have at the national level, the more accurate assessment that we are able to make. So this is how it shows at the end. So GVA by a sector generated for blue economy as a percentage of total GVA of blue economy. And then you have it presented as a pie chart as well. That's for wages. This is for the similar thing for employment. Now, coming to the social module, as I said, we have some of the Human Development Report of the UNDP, which is preloaded. And we also use the security indexes from Stable Seas. And so I'm just going to skip this. So this is how we present it. The data entries for the social assessment is as follows. You have all the categories that are going to be assessed. We also assess the business environment. So from that, you can break down to the further dimension, and then you take the indicators. Same principle as for the economic. It's just the difference is that we have the outcomes in terms of the positive outcomes and the negative outcomes. So the positive, the higher the index, the better. The lower the index, better in the negative assessment. So this is how it comes out. So for each of the indicators, you have the scores and the regional average on the side. And the same for the negative one. And this is what I was telling you about the social pyramids that we have integrated, which allows us to actually do further detailed analysis about the age, sex, and coastal and rural, urban and rural distribution of of the interaction of the blue economy on on the social component. So this one is for Ethiopia that we conducted. Now, coming to the ecosystem services assessment that we conduct, it's the similar. So we obviously account for all the services that are attributed to all the ecosystem functional groups and the value thereof. This is again how we proceed. We have the realm level, the biome level, and then the EFG, the economic functional group level. Ecosystem functional group level. Okay. And then at the end, this is what we get. It's a dashboard which gives you a snapshot of the blue economy contribution to your country. You get all the main indicators for the economic, the social, and the ecosystem. And you're able to obviously compare it to your GDP. So what countries have been using it for is that this snapshot really allows them to see firstly where they stand as at now, if they have a national strategy and action plan on a yearly basis, redo this assessment and see where they have come based on their national accounts data that they have collected. And obviously, this allows them, therefore, to do their annual budgets. So, which subsector of the blue economy is more performing? So they can put more money and generate and attract more investment on that area. Which sector of the blue economy is less performing or has an inverted relationship to certain uh, social indexes? You're able to address that. So, and the ecosystem services, obviously, a lot of countries in Africa, mostly, do not really have an idea. So they do not have a national capital account assessing the value of their ecosystem services, or they do not even have the mapping of the ecosystems functional groups. So then we show them, but then there's a need for climate financing. So this ecosystem services assessment allows them to see this is what you're missing out. This is how you can leverage on your ecosystem functional groups that are existing in your water bodies to be able to capture certain climate financing eventually, should you address that. So this is okay, these are all the details. But yeah, so this is in short what it is, the toolkit. And I just want to share that we are migrating the tool online. So it's going to be an online platform which is accessible globally. It's already nearly done. It's going to be completed within the next month or two. And this is also the idea is to actually make it accessible to everyone to be able to conduct their assessments regularly and be able to map their progress and action plans. This also serves them to see the progress in terms of the GDP not GDP, SDGs. How to report on the SDGs and how to report also to the donors when they are getting funds. So this is what the toolkit is aiming at with the online version, to be able to capture the historical progress of countries. And yeah, so this is going to be accessible very soon to everyone. So yes, this is us. And yes, open to question. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anita, for that presentation on the Blue Economy Valuation Toolkit. So before we go into a panel which looks at the experiences of countries for ocean accounting, we'll just hear from specific countries on their current experience in terms of implementation. So first off, I'd like to invite Dinithi from the IUCN Sri Lanka office to share a very brief statement, and then we'll go around and countries have put forward statements as well. So, Dinithi, can you hear us?
Yes, Jordan, thank you so much. Hope I am audible to you all. Am I audible, Jordan?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So good afternoon to you all. I'm Diniti Samratunga, representing IUC in Sri Lanka country office on behalf of Dr. Shaman Vidanage, country representative, who was unable to join you all today. So in Sri Lanka, we actually mainly work with the government of Sri Lanka for a GEF supported work led on the natural capital accounting and assessments in the coastal sector. So, in this initiative, it is mainly focused to build the capacity of the agency stakeholders and bring together the practitioners in valuation, environment planning, biophysical assessment, spatial planning, and national accounting to build the national accounting experts. So, and another thing is on this initiative is Sri Lanka will develop a data system that links environmental and economic data aligned with the UN standards. So, and this also further supported by the ongoing initiatives such as marine spatial planning of UNDP and Sri Lanka Coral Reef Initiative led by IUCN, and also the BOBLMA project led by IUCN, and biodiversity financing initiatives of UNDP and coastal zone management planning of the Coast Conservation Department. So to build build the capacities of the stakeholders, Global Ocean Account Partnership conducted number of workshops in Sri Lanka with the support with the engagement of the Ministry of Environment, Department of Census and Statistics, with the support of IUC in Sri Lanka as well. So, since there are many initiatives that are undertaking and on board in Sri Lanka, our country representative Dr. Shaman Vigdanage actually wanted to suggest you all the importance of getting the membership in GOAP, the Global Ocean Account Partnerships, for more clear interactions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dinithi. I'll now hand over to Professor Chomchanok from Thailand.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Somshanok, but you can call me just A from Thailand. So I want to share some OA in Thailand. So for the Thailand, actually, we try to contribute the geoinformatic technology to the OA framework. For example, we try to we promote we call the spatial unit, because when we collect the data for the OA, right? So we need some some unit or area base to to measure some data in specific unit to the main target is we consider is maybe it's easy to compare with the comparing the data between year by year or the like a time series data. So for that one, we at the initial we implement it in one province in Thailand we call Phang area, and yes, it's very successful. So we test in the very famous province again in the Phuket. In Phuket, we implement the spatial unit concept for the OA to collect the data and in the coastal area, and especially for the pollution. And the one thing that's so interesting that we separate the area, both in the coastal area and the mainland in the Phuket to in specific spatial unit, right? And we found that we can identify the sort of the pollution that and move to the ocean and some the effect area. But at the same time, we find some challenge, really challenging one that is about to link the socioeconomic data into the spatial unit. Because right now, our team try to uh, use the geoinformatic technique to extract the socioeconomic data as well. and yes, we compete with in the ocean account, and yes, we try to promote this concept. I mean, the spatial unit for the mangrove area, because we believe that, and in this one, this is a very and useful to collect the data and calculate the carbon concentration, and that is can directly contribute to the blue ocean economy. Yes, something like that from Thailand, very shortly.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now to actually another professor, if I could call on Professor Kavi Kumar.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. Let me just give a brief about what India has been trying to do with regard to the ocean accounts. So this is, let me put it clearly, that it is not an official statement. I don't represent government of India, and I'm an academic here. But I'm part of some expert groups that government of India constituted with regard to the ocean account preparation and so on. So I think it doesn't need to be emphasized more as far as the importance of ocean accounts in India is concerned. It's given its vast coastline and several coastal states that are very crucially dependent on ocean economy as such. Now, I think the word blue economy has become a buzzword or a mantra worldwide. It's not surprising given that oceans are seen as the next economic frontier and the solution to sustained economic growth. But if you take the example of India, growth along the coastline has accelerated in the last few decades. But it's often a haphazard, not just probably in India, in other places as well, relatively with little planning on one hand, and also I believe that the resources are inexhaustible, both as a resource base as well as a waste sink. Now, the growing adverse effects of economic activities on coastal and marine ecosystems in particular, like they are evidenced by a variety of indicators for us by now. Fishermen having to go to further deep into the sea to catch the usual fish, the same amount that they used to do earlier. Poorer coastal water qualities and increasing investment into cleaning beaches and coastal protection system being deteriorated and so on. All these have necessitated, I think, way back in 2020, India has formulated draft policy framework on blue economy. And one of the priority areas identified at that time was the development of a robust mechanism for national accounting framework for blue economy and ocean governance. This was clearly indicated as a first priority. And in 2021, India became a member of GOAP. And in the same year, the Ministry of Economics and Statistics and Program Implementation identified development of ocean ecosystem accounts as a key priority area for the period 2022 to 2026. We had, in fact, interacted with GOAP at that time. Madras School of Economics, where I work, facilitated two interactive dialogues under the Australia-India Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative Partnership to kind of sensitize the academia as well as a policy towards the ocean accounting development. A rectification of all that in 2023 July, the government of India constituted a multi-sectoral group, bringing together expertise from various central ministries, research institutions, and eminent experts to develop a national framework for ocean accounts, which is supposed to be aligned with CIEA, that's ecosystem accounting, and that would be capturing the changes in the ocean extent, conditions, services, and assets over time. This expert group submitted its report, to which I'm a member, submitted its report earlier this year. Basically, the framework essentially looked at 8 ecosystems as the key ecosystems to be concerned in Indian context. These include, of course, mangroves, coral reefs, seagrass, estuaries, lagoon, sandy coast, and coastal ocean waters, as well as mudflats. A tiered approach was being suggested, in which for compiling both extent and condition account, that was tier 1, including core and essential parameters that are readily available and can be consistently monitored, whereas in the tier 2, they were supposed to be including detailed ecosystem-specific indicators that are granular also in nature. This framework, subsequent to the formulation of this framework, subnational coastal states are being encouraged to develop state-level ocean accounts with various departments brought together with Directorate of Economics and Statistics serving as the nodal agency. One capacity building workshop very recently in Kochi, Kerala, was held under this same initiative by the Ministry and Government of India, where the coastal states were provided some guidance on developing the coastal, ocean accounting in their respective states. Concurrently, there are some other developments like NCCR, National Center for Coastal Research, which is a research institute affiliated to the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, in collaboration with World Bank, has completed a pilot study of ocean ecosystem accounts for the southern state of Tamil Nadu in 2025. The report is just recently released. Other pilot studies are being planned concurrently to take forward the ocean accounting work in India. So that's all currently from my side as a brief input from India. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kavi. So the last insight that we have is from Tiava. Can you hear us?
Yes, Jordan, I can hear you.
Perfect. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tiava Nandrasa. I'm from Madagascar. I'm a fellow, postdoc fellow from Global Ocean Account Partnership. We have a team who for Madagascar, we develop an ocean accounting for sustainable ocean planning in Madagascar. So the project is start in January, and it's part of GOAP's global initiative to develop and implement ocean account practice to support sustainable development. The ongoing project in Madagascar involve setting up pilot study on ocean account in order to support sustainable marine spatial planning. Our ultimate goal is to develop an ocean satellite account for Madagascar, and the pilot project will be carried out in Madagascar at Antimonde of region. The project is a result of collaboration between three entities from GOAP, who is the financial, technical, and academic support of the project. The University of Tulia is the institutional support for the project, and the Institute of Science Marine is the landing of the pilot of a project. We have two areas of research. First, study of extent and condition of coral reef in relation of anthropogenic pressure inside and outside marine protect area, as well as associated ecosystem surveys and community dependency. Second, the development of national satellite accounts for the ocean economy in Madagascar. Madagascar have national priority. We have two existing framework. First document is the National Blue Economy Strategy with 6 strategy priorities. And the second document is the Integrated Ocean Governance Policy with 6 priority again. And our studies, our action is in relation with this priority, and we have alignment with program for research activity on the state of the ecosystem, and we have also an alignment with integrated ocean governance policy by 4 priority. And our objective is to develop a blue economy satellite and develop of an ocean satellite. And we in national and local, we have national and local collaboration like uh, five ministry who five ministry in national collaborate with this project, like fishery, like Ministry of Fisheries and Blue Economy, Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, Ministry of Finance and Budget, Ministry of Higher Education and Science Research, and in local we have many collaboration also, like some NGO, Blue Venture, for example, some companies who work together with this project, like Ocean Farmer. We have in our university, we have many researchers who work together with us, and some project program in our country. So that is our experiences about to developing ocean account in Madagascar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiava. So we've heard from countries just very briefly about their experience. Now, this next section in the last 30 minutes, we'll go into a deep dive into some of the country experiences. First off, we'll have Dr. Ben Milligan, who is the director of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership. So Ben, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jordan. And could I just confirm that you're hearing my audio okay?
Yes, we can.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yes, and good evening from Canberra, Australia. Thanks to everyone joining. I see familiar faces and new names, and it's really wonderful to see the community around blue economy, ocean development, and ocean accounts gathering ever more frequently each coming year. To kick off this discussion, I just wanted to say a few brief words about the policy evolutions related to ocean development that we are observing across the membership of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership, which is now more than 44 member organizations, mostly countries, and also the broader global perspective. And what we're seeing in terms of global practice involving the use of ocean accounts to address very practical ocean development challenges. So I have a few slides on that topic, a brief presentation intended as a bit of a scene setter for some of the more focused presentations you'll hear from others. So could I just confirm, Jordan, are you seeing my slides?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful, thanks. And I suggest that for most countries involved in development of coherent statistical and measurement systems, i.e. ocean accounts, that the major driver is achieving a blue economy or a sustainable ocean economy in practice. So ocean accounting is having a role as one of the major instruments to benchmark progress and also enable a lot of other interesting things like better government performance and critically investment in sustainable development trajectories. And there's a few things that are changing in the ocean economy that necessitate or underscore the urgency of this challenge. Apologies for the missing title on these slides. Ocean economy structures in many countries are changing. So what used to be an economic structure with very long-standing established sectors like capture fisheries or shipping, small scale and large scale, is now increasingly in many countries coexisting spatially with a whole other range of emerging sectors. The transformative growth of coastal aquaculture in many countries across the Indian Ocean Rim region, offshore renewable energy, biotechnology, and a whole range of other sectors. And these are all enabled by a combination of infrastructure, skills, and really importantly, natural capital. So the environment being a foundation of all the other prosperity that we would seek to achieve, either through extraction of resources, but also for the function of ecosystems into all of those sectors in the long term. And some of these sectors are increasingly starting to merge together into really interesting new combinations. So we're seeing, for example, and this is a photo from outside the Indian Ocean region, but we're seeing offshore renewable energy coexist in the same projects with aquaculture, for example. We're also seeing ecological restoration being used and thought about by major development organizations like the Asian Development Bank. We're seeing nature restoration combine with traditional infrastructure development to solve resilience challenges. So green infrastructure or nature-based solutions for ports or seawalls are good examples of this, or for safeguarding low-lying cities in the face of increasing climate-related stress. So our traditional sectoral composition of the ocean is changing, and we're seeing a merging of sectors. And in this context, there's ever more importance on cross-sectoral strategic policy. And outside the Indian Ocean region and very much within it, you're seeing the evolution of a whole range of different national strategic visions for the ocean economy. And that's, many of you are experts in this in the Indian Ocean region, which is why I've avoided it with these examples. But it's not confined to the Indian Ocean. We're seeing national visions that go beyond sectors into a cross-sectoral strategic conception of the ocean economy. And if we have this cross-sectoral strategic conception of the ocean economy and want to develop that in the long term so that future generations can benefit as well as the present, we need the right instruments and finance, but we also need the right measurement that goes beyond GDP and other conventional measures of progress to measure what matters. And the UN Oceans Conference in 2025, just recently in Nice, and other groups of world leaders like the High-Level Ocean Panel, represented in the Indian Ocean by countries such as Kenya and Indonesia, really are bringing this to the top of the policy agenda. So we're seeing a discussion of how achieving a sustainable blue economy needs social and cultural instruments. It needs economic instruments, environmental instruments. Those all need to be planned spatially. And underpinning that, we need to measure progress with transparent systems across all of those domains. And that's really what Ocean Accounts is all about. And one of the things that has really changed over the last year is we now have global political recognition of this through the UN Ocean Conference political outcome. And they included this language on ocean accounting. We emphasize the critical need for ocean accounting and mapping of certain things as appropriate to inform policy decisions, development planning, integrated coastal zone management, and conservation. So this role of ocean accounts as a foundational instrument is now really strongly a feature of the policy agenda. That's based on a whole range of standards. And what's critical about these standards is they take us beyond individual projects and individual tools to an environment where useful tools for policy making can be used, but fed by national systems that live on beyond any project or live on beyond any individual development cooperation. In the same way that national systems work for conventional measures like GDP. And then if we do this, we can start measuring a whole range of things that are really important for the domestic policy agenda, not just the international level. So we can have better insights about the ocean economy and how that's performing compared to terrestrial economy and benefiting coastal communities and revealing the critical role that ocean sectors have, for example, for livelihoods that is missing from a lot of national accounting systems historically. We can start measuring the environmental asset base in a much more structured ways, taking advantage of geospatial technology and distributional questions like gender or different communities and how they benefit in different ways from ocean activity. A rapidly emerging area in the ocean accounting agenda and the wider blue economy agenda is also providing metrics that enable greater investment in nature-based solutions for development. So if we can measure, and apologies, I just need to ditch that call. Very sorry about that. I thought I turned on Do Not Disturb. So we also see, for example, that if we are measuring how nature provides benefits to communities and to the economy more generally, we can start building investment cases in multilateral development finance, applications to the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, private financiers, really making nature visible in terms of its hard development benefits beyond a conservation agenda. And the final thing I'd like to close on, as setting the stage for some of the more focused presentations to follow mine, is that if we get to a point where we have national systems that are gradually evolving to measure progress across social, economic, and environmental domains for ocean development, that unlocks our ability to increase investment. And we're seeing real life examples of this now in the Indian Ocean region, particularly ocean accounts unlocking better business cases for multilateral development finance. It enables ministries to collaborate with one another much more effectively around common metrics, and it enables us to tailor policy in a more granular and local way. And so these opportunities are different in every country, but we're seeing more and more of them come to the fore, unlocked by this potential of ocean accounting. So I'll stop there and hand back to Jordan. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity to provide a global perspective.
Thank you very much, Ben. So next on the agenda, we have Anicia. Are you there with us?
Yes, Jordan.
Perfect. To give some insights from ocean accounting in Indonesia.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan, and everyone. Good morning, good afternoon from Indonesia. I would like to share my presentation first. Just want to confirm whether you can see the slides.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So yeah, just a quick introduction. My name is Anisha Rosdiana. I'm from Rekam Nusantara Foundation, an NGO in Indonesia who also a member of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership. Actually, this presentation and the works related to the ocean accounts is under the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of Indonesia, who also the members and the co-chairs of GOAP, along with the ministries and institutions, including the National Ministry of Development Planning, Ministry of Finance, Statistics Indonesia, and Geospatial Information Agency. So I would like to highlight our experience in developing the ocean accounts in our country to support blue economy and sustainable ocean development. Growing from the global commitment on sustainable ocean development, there are several demands on how to measure the achievement towards sustainability, such as the Sustainable Development Goals. Would like to track the ecosystem health along with the growth of ocean economy, and also how to coherent the governance within the ocean. In between, there is the demand to track the successful and outcome from conservation of biological diversity around the world, including in Indonesia. How can we prove that conservation not only give us benefit for the ecosystem, but also for the society? Meanwhile, we as the partner from the GOAP would like to also enhance our capacity to develop this framework as one of the tools to support development in Indonesia. In between, we believe that the ocean accounts, since it is a framework that adapted from the international standards, such as system of environmental and economic accounting, and also system of national accounting, this initiative will give us understanding not only at the local level, but also growing demand from the global commitment, how we can have coherent and also consistent indicators towards achieving sustainability. And regarding to the newest commitment on climate change, it is also important how we can measure the achievement towards climate change mitigation and adaptation. Ocean accounts not only serve as the tool, but also it is our way to align with this global commitment. It is also highlighted from Jordan how we can measure not only the value, but also how it comes from the assets into the services and how the services can support us through the economic activities and so on. In between, the ocean accounts also quantifies the value of ecosystem services and how we can assess the impact of economic activities to the ecosystem and environment. So it can also one of the alert how we can set up the alarm how much activities that still need to be conducted in a particular precaution. So within the ocean accounts, we can also support the policy and regulation related to the ocean. In Indonesia itself, the ocean accounts highlighted international and legal framework that's including the law consisting on blue economy, and it is also mandated through the government regulation that require the environmental account as part of the management system, while in the presidential regulation related to the Indonesia ocean policy, we need the tools to track our management system. And it is also highlighted in the midterm development planning of Indonesia that the development should consider the environmental assets and their accounts. While for the specific related to the risk-based permit for business, it is also mentioned that ocean accounts can guide us to track alignment between the plan and the utilization. While for the program itself, Blue Economy program, we need tools to track the policy impact on sectors for the environment and for the social welfare. In between, there is also demand from the implementation and coherence within the marine spatial planning, particularly for monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness. That's why in Indonesia, the strong commitment from the government, it is actually, it was started in 2020, involve different ministries and institutions. And at the time, we highlighted the initial plan to develop the ocean accounts along with the challenges. There are 3 challenges highlighted during the initial development, including the governance, data, and also how to connect between this initiative to support the policy. That's why the government of Indonesia developed a roadmap to align this and to address these challenges and give us the significant outcomes. And we conducted the first pilots. At the time, we conduct a pilot in marine protected area. Along with the pilot, we also set up the team to deliver the knowledge to the national standard and another knowledge management. As you see on the left down, you can see the pilots of ocean accounts in Indonesia. It's spread across different areas, particularly marine protected area. It's also include different thematics such as fisheries accounting and blue carbon accounting. Also, ocean accounts incoherent with the marine spatial planning. From this pilot, we assess the utilization of ocean accounts, particularly related to the ecosystem assets, flows to the economy to connect from the assets into the economic sectors, and flows to the environment to analyze the impact of economic activities to the ocean, while we also calculating the contribution from environment to the economy by using the ocean satellite account. And also we assess the ocean governance within this the governance account. So we can have more understanding, not only related to the ecosystem condition and extent, but also the interaction between the assets with the economic activities and human welfare. At this time, we already achieved a remarkable stage, such as through the to optimizing the collaboration. The government in Indonesia has established the Ocean Accounts Indonesia Task Force. So it consists of multiple institutions who work regarding the ocean accounts, and the task force itself consists of different thematic and works, such as the Geospatial Information Agency, who works on mapping and geospatial system, Statistics Indonesia, who works on calculating the maritime GDP, Ministry of Finance, who assessing the value of natural assets, particularly also for the coastal and ocean, and the Ministry of National Development Planning, who set the agenda for our development in Indonesia. And the ministries are led by the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Moving forward, we also already conduct the mapping of national coastal ecosystem extent. So we map the area by two different times, so we can see the trend and their conditions. And we also calculating the value of national national coastal ecosystem assets by the Andalusia initiative. In between, the pilots also enhance through several activities, including reviewing and validation to enhance the data accuracy and data precision. Of course, there are also several activities regarding the capacity building, developing standards to enhance our ocean accounts implementation. And moreover, we also develop and set the dashboard to support and to inform all the people, especially in Indonesia, what has been doing related to the Asian accounts, particularly how to access and utilize the data derived from this initiative. So you can see our dashboard, which is also including the benefit by using this dashboard, especially how one of the tool is to assess from the business sector, such as if you would like to conducting economic activities in certain coastal areas, what are the impacts to the ecosystem and how to mitigate and to minimize the risk. So that's one of the use of this dashboard, as you can also scan through the QR code. And lastly, I would like to highlight our plan and roadmap on ocean accounts by 2045. At least there are 4 strategic action, including the design and compilation of ocean accounts, policy mainstreaming, stakeholders cooperation. And one of the most important thing also how we can engage with international platform, such as what I'm doing in this activity. I think that's all from me, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anicia, for sharing the works in Indonesia. So now, and sorry, we'll run a little bit over time, but I'll hand over now to Lisama from the Maldives.
Thank you, Jordan. I'll quickly share my screen. Jordan, could you confirm if you can see my screen?
We can. Yep.
Okay.
Now it's full
Yeah.
screen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my name is Lisama Sabri, and I work for the Ministry of Tourism and Environment of the Maldives. And today I'm going to present about ocean accounting in the Maldives, what our experience has been so far, and what our plans are when it comes to scaling up ocean accounting after our first pilot. So I'll start with the presentation. Before I delve into ocean accounting, I'll just look into what Maldives is. For those who do not know where Maldives is, we are located in the Indian Ocean on the equator, and we are a group of very small low-lying coral islands spread across a vast region of the Indian Ocean. We are very low-lying, and we have an island setting. We are island ecosystem countries, so that means we have a very dynamic coastal and marine environment, which are also highly vulnerable to impacts such as climate change and other impacts. And at the same time, we are extremely dependent on our coastal and marine environment. For generations, Maldivians have been custodians to these vast coastal and marine areas, and we have been sort of living in harmony with nature. We have a lot of very sustainable practices that we have been practicing for generations. But when it comes to our country, we are highly dependent when we look into our way of life, our economy, our livelihoods, and even just the mere existence of our country is completely dependent on the coastal and marine environment, and those ecosystems to be healthy. For this reason, it is very important for us to understand what we have, the extent of ecosystems that we have, the condition of it, and to make sure that we are able to protect, manage, monitor, and take care of these ecosystems so that we can keep on managing them and using them and getting services from them for generations and generations to come. This is why this ocean accounting provides us with a very good opportunity as a country that is developing at a very huge pace. We are doing reclamation activities, we are doing coastal modification activities. So with this rapid development, we need to ensure that we are also making sure that our pristine environment remains. We are taking care of them, we are protecting them and managing them, because without those ecosystems, Maldives will not be able to survive. So just looking into the introduction of ocean accounting in the Maldives, we started this with a project called Enderi. Enderi actually is the Divehi term, that's our local language, Divehi term for black coral. And for the project, it means enhancing national development through environmentally resilient islands. And this is a project through GEF6 replenishment cycle, and we are almost at the end of it, and we have now successfully established 3 accounts for Lamu Atoll in the Maldives, which is coral reefs, seagrass beds, and mangroves. And I think this is a very this is very successful for us as the first accounts for the Maldives, and it really sets the benchmark for us to scale up accounting for other regions of the Maldives. And we were able to do this through partnership with Global Ocean Accounts Partnership and also University of New South Wales. I think we are now able to better understand what we have in Lamu Atoll and how we can apply that into the decision-making process when we develop Lamu Atoll, and also make sure that our natural capital is reflected in the national assets going forward. So this is what we want to have in other parts of the Maldives as well. But as you can see, we are a lot of 26 natural atolls spread across a vast area. And so it's not easy for us to go to each and every atoll and collect data. So it's going to be a lengthy process. So we need to have some sort of plan, some sort of and also to mobilize funding as well, and to have technical people, to have capacity building efforts. We need to have some sort of plan and to create the enabling environment that is required for us to implement ocean accounting in the Maldives. And this is why we are extremely happy that we have 2 roadmaps currently in the Maldives that has focused on ocean accounting. One is on generally on environmental economic statistics, which is led by Moody's Bureau of Statistics, who are working very closely with the Environment Ministry when it comes to ocean accounts. And the other one is focused on ocean accounting, which we just published this year. And I think these two roadmaps together, working with other stakeholders and building partnerships with international organizations, it really will help us going forward to scale up ocean accounting throughout the Maldives. So we are also extremely grateful for Global Ocean Accounts Partnership, because while Andheri project was coming to an end, we had to find ways to expand ocean accounting to other parts of the Maldives, but we currently have limited capacity within the Maldives, and this is why we have begun the process of signing and implementing an MOU with Global Ocean Accounts Partnership, under which we will be able to do what we want with ocean accounting. And under this MOU, we are also doing ocean accounting for another atoll of the Maldives called Formola Atoll. And this is a very unique atoll I have actually circled on the map. This is an atoll which is actually one single island. This is the only inhabited island in the Maldives that is a one single island atoll environment. So it doesn't have an inner atoll lagoon like other inhabited atolls of the Maldives. So I personally am very interested to know the outcomes of this ocean accounting process and how it compares with the already existing accounts for Lamu Atoll. And at the same time, Global Ocean Accounts Partnership would be doing for the first time in the Maldives, social accounts for both Lamu Atoll and Formola Atoll, and it would be really interesting to know how the way people interact with nature, the way people derive benefits from nature and ecosystem services play into these ocean accounts or social accounts. So I just mentioned about Lamu Atoll and Formola Atoll, but I also wanted to highlight that we have two new other projects coming as well. One for Laviani Atoll, which I have highlighted, and also for the biggest atoll in the world, biggest natural atoll in the world, that is Bodutila Dumati Atoll, which is administratively divided into 4 atolls. So we have included one of these administrative atolls in a project as well. So while it might be challenging for us to cover the whole of Maldives, we are moving forward, and we are hopeful that by 2035, we may be able to cover the whole of Maldives when it comes to ocean accounting, and it will just help us in bringing forward the understanding of our natural capital, because without that, the Maldives is basically nothing. And then we just want to make sure that it is reflected in the decision-making process, and it is mainstreamed across all sectors when it comes to finance, economic development, and our major economic sectors like fisheries, agriculture, tourism, and so on. And this is why ocean accounting is so important for us, because for conservation as well, without having this incorporated into the decision-making process, it really doesn't make much of a difference. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisama. And last but not least, the Indian Ocean region is a very big place. We've got Indonesia one side, Maldives in the middle. Last but not least, we have Kenya. So Professor Bernard, can you hear us? Professor, are you there?
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let me just project. Share. So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I will just give you a brief of, I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. And I'm presenting from Kilifi. So Pwani University is one of the members of the Africa Community of Practice for the GOAP, and we are running a pilot project which started in 2024, 2025 with the University of New South Wales.
Sorry, Professor. If you could just present your slides, the presentation button.
Okay. I don't know whether you can see the screen I'm sharing. Is it visible?
Yes, we just need in presentation mode, if you can click.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so One University is one of the members of the Africa Community of Practice, and we got a seed grant from the Global Ocean Account Secretariat from the University of New South Wales, and therefore we decided to pilot this in one of our smaller counties. Of course, Kilifi is the biggest county within the coast. The county is similar to districts in some of the areas. So along the coast, we have 5 counties. We have Kwale, Mombasa, Kilifi, Tana River, and then Lamu. And Kilifi has a coastline of about 260 nautical mile, 260 kilometers coastline, including the embayments and the creeks. And therefore, we have the 2 components of these projects. The first one was integrating ocean accounting to marine spatial planning process for Kilifi County, and the second one was to look at to monitor the socioecological resilience of the coastal communities to coastal changes in Kilifi County. And for this, we depended mainly on satellite imagery, and after the satellite imagery process, then we would go to ground truthing. And therefore, the entire process would involve the selection of the images. We do the processing, we do the classification, and then to the post-classification where we get our maps and the clear statistics of the corals and the seagrass and the mangroves. So from this, when you look at the image on the left, this image here, this is one of the satellite images before refining, and after refining, then we could actually isolate most of the ecosystems, whether it's the mangroves or the seagrass or the corals. Now, looking at this is one of the images showing the entire coast of Kilifi County, and you can see the seagrass, you can see the landmass, and then the water. Same for this is also covering the seagrass. This also covers the seagrass. And then when I come to this is the extent of the creek, which is now includes also the mangroves, because the mangroves are mainly within our creek. So when you look at this, the Mtwapa Creek, which separates Mombasa County and Kilifi County, you can see the extent of the creek, the mangroves. And from there, this is now the Kilifi Creek, which is the next creek north of Mtwapa. And when you look at this map, you can see this is the first creek, Mtwapa. This is Kilifi Creek. We have a Mida Creek, and then we have one of the other largest extents of mangroves, which is the Ngomeni area, running from Malindi town to the border with the Tana River County. So with this refining and use of the satellite imagery, we would separate the seagrass, the corals, and even sand in the areas, and then we would go to the ground and do ground truthing. The challenge we've had mainly, for example, with the mangroves is managing to do in-depth estimations of the mangroves because of the access. And we were in discussion some time back with Mozambique to see how they normally do their estimations of the mangroves. For the seagrass and the corals, where we just have to do scuba diving, this has been quite easy for us. So for this, the image on the left, this one combines the corals, the seagrass, and the sand. But when you refine it from the satellite imagery, we could easily separate the seagrass separate, and then we could also separate the corals separate. And from there, then we would be able to do estimations in terms of the area cover. So for example, here from those images, we have the area covered by the corals, about 27 square kilometers. The areas of the seagrass, about 19. And then you have the area which is covered by sand, estimated at about 4.7. So the challenges we've had, number one, especially with the mangroves and the seagrass and the corals, is estimation of the exact biomass. It has been very easy for us to estimate the spatial extent, Now the next stage would be estimation of the biomass and seeing how much carbon is actually probably sequestered there, because we also looking into how we can integrate these systems into the carbon finance. The next thing we are doing is actually collation of the county accounts that is within the Kilifi County, and we also tried a test with the Blue Economy Evaluation Toolkit, but I think we faced several challenges because the Excel version kept on hanging and crashing, and therefore I'm actually glad that we have an online version as announced, and we could still try this. Then we are also pushing to have the integration into the national systems via the ministry, and we also have one of our colleagues who is working on the legal accounts. And Pwani has also been lucky to be sitting on the Ocean Decade National Committee. And therefore, we are using all these avenues to see how we can push for the integration of these accounts into policy such that it becomes part of the systems of national accounts. In terms of forums, we've tried to also put this into several forums. And we have the upcoming Western Indian Marine Sciences Association, where we are hosting a special session on ocean accounts. And we also hope to push this at the regional level for the government to accept this. Kenya is also geared to hosting the next ocean conference, which was lastly held in Korea. So Kenya is the next. And again, Pwani University is also sitting in this committee. And we hope through time we can actually be able to push and get these accounts into the national systems of accounts. So far we have done the mangroves, we have done the seagrass, we have done the corals, and we have also done the social accounts. So we are trying to pull these together and develop a full account for Kilifi, and then integrate this to the county government systems of national accounts for the county, and then expand now to the wider coastal counties. We have also some pilots running within South Coast, that is in Kwale, and we hope in the next phase, if we manage to get additional funding, we want to push and expand these accounts to all the counties within the coast and see how we get to push the ocean accounts into policy and ocean accounts into the systems of national accounts in Kenya. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Bennett. So, apologies for going over time. Thank you all to the presenters for taking the time. Thank you we still have 65 people online. So just seeing the incredible diversity of projects of focus from the ocean accounts, even across the Indian Ocean region. So hopefully this shows some of the challenges even that people have faced and what we can do to collaborate to overcome those challenges in advancing ocean accounts in our respective countries. So thank you again to everyone for participating. Thank you to Sri Lanka. Thank you to the IORA Secretariat. And this concludes the webinar. Thank you so much.